Hey YouTube, it's the American Samurai back again with another review today for you guys. Since Labor Day I thought I'd do 2 Ultraverse titles instead of just one like I normally do. So we're going to talk about Strangers, Issue 1 from the Ultraverse. This is the first team book I've covered. There are several teams in the Ultraverse. For those of you who may have thought it was only solo books, there is the Exiles, the Free X, the Strangers, and the Ultraforce being the last book, but that didn't come, last team book, but that didn't come until year 2. And that's where it actually takes the well-known characters like Hardcase, Prime, Prototype, and basically teams them up. Okay, this is Strangers. Our writer is Steve Englehart. Our letterer is Tom Eldrin. Chris Arlen is the editor. Rick Hamburg, penciler. I'm going to butcher these names. Tim Beauregard, inker, and Paul Mounts, color design. This is the first issue, which is titled Jumpstart. The soft-scented breezes are blowing in off the wide Pacific Ocean as the special light shining only on San Francisco. Surfaces of the world favorite city, but even here it's a workday. At 8:45 on a Thursday morning, the Powell Street cable car is jammed with the same cross-section of humanity found in any other city. There's nothing at all special about the car or its passengers, only except that they're just about 8 minutes away from the Jumpstart. So we got that here going on. Okay, so this is where we're kind of first introduced to our characters who will later become the Strangers and a few other characters. So let's see who we got here. We got Candy and J.D. Hunt. That was not revealed till later who he is. Bob and Hugh. I forget the model's, this gal's name right now, but also we have the nurse and her patient. As you can see, they throw J.D. Hunt off there. As to whether or not that was a good or bad thing, because in a way they kind of save him from that, which is interesting, because J.D. Hunt actually has a pretty deep past. And this is also where we're first introduced to Johnny Domino. We don't know much about his past before this particular event happens in the comics. It doesn't really tell us that. But yeah, after it crashes, and the reason that they couldn't stop was because the brakes were out because of the lightning. So. And here you see Candy kind of running out. We don't know what's her story right now. And we see Johnny Domino's hurt. But everyone else seems okay. And then we, the next page takes us to Ella LeBlanc, fashion designer, La Brava, fashion designer. She's the one I forgot originally. And goes to her studio and sees what's going on with her life, and she's gotten some inspiration for superhero costumes. And then the next page shows us Bob Harden and Hugh Fox, and shows their power, or well, I think it's Bob's powers, which is he can transform matter from one form to another. And then later on we check out Hugh's forms, which is basically the ability to shoot out like shrapnel from his body, but it doesn't affect him. We also see that the reason it didn't hurt his friend is because he was actually able to instantaneously protect himself by turning the shrapnel into rosebuds. And then we meet the other member of this group that will eventually become the Strangers, David Castiglione. I don't know. Maybe someone else can pronounce that, because I don't know how you pronounce that. Who runs a bakery, it looks like. And he discovers that it's almost like a Human Torch, but in green. And we meet the last member of this group, who I don't think he ever gives his real name. But when he gets his powers, he dubs himself, at least in the cartoon, and apparently in this comic, Zip Zap. We see Candy kind of walking around, not really knowing what's going on here. people are approaching her and she's scared for some reason. Then we find out the reason is because she is actually a she's not human. She's a machine of some sort. And what J.D. Hunt doesn't want, he doesn't want other companies getting their hands on that technology because it's not supposed to be available advanced. Yeah, J.D. Hunt has a whole backstory in itself, but I'm not going to go into that. But we see the nurse, the patient, he's actually feeling a lot better, but the nurse is not feeling so well. And then we see Johnny Dollar's operation, and that's interesting. Over the 3 issues, even though this is primarily the Strangers comic, we see a lot of Johnny Domino in these 3 comics before he awakens and becomes the Nightman, his alter ego. David went to the doctor's office, talking to his doctor, and then a mysterious woman shows up, and she's causing all kinds of trouble, but nobody can understand her language. There's a blast, but I'm assuming is Grenader. And she's attacking them, and once again you can tell here that we're not supposed to know what she's saying. And then, just when it looks like they're in trouble, here comes Zip Zap to save the day. So you can see he's basically changed his costume. I think he was wearing the same shorts and shoes, but I think he changed the shirt. And they basically join up, and then we introduce the last member of the team. Right now, another member of the team. And they're afraid she'll get hurt, so Adam Bob actually creates like a thing for her to land on. I hope I'm not being too vague with this. I think I was more strict with the other one. But I'm not used to doing like team stories, so. Like I said, then we see this gal, LeBlanc, is able to manipulate fashion, I guess, to their targets. So they get the idea of working together and having them kind of all attack at once. This is where we discover that he has more than just the green fire. He ends up actually using like a yellow fire also. But, yeah, or is it orange? Yeah, orange fire, I'm sorry, my bad. Orange. There's a battle going on. But then we see that Candy's kind of having a little decision about what she's going to do. She ends up actually helping them. And they decide to basically combine their abilities to try and take her down, but they realize they can't, and she ends up escaping. So, seeing what the trouble with all the police and everything showing up, Zip Zap actually uses his power to get them out of there like a tornado. And he goes, Zip Zap actually is the one that asks him, you know, can you go any other colors? He goes, what did I try in yellow? He discovers that he can fly when he's using yellow. We also, if we didn't get it from the first thing, we find out Candy's an android. And when the lightning struck her, it gave her the abilities, besides the ability to... It's not revealed whether or not she could do the electric blast before that or not. But it basically gave her a conscience, kind of like Pinocchio or Android Kiter, if you've ever seen that show. And now they're kind of wondering how are we going to go after her, that gal, because she flew away. They think she's responsible for their powers, and it does seem kind of like obvious. But they basically discover there's a cloud up there, and that cloud isn't supposed to be there, so they decide to get in her private jet and go fly off and save the day. And the next issue is Hey Hugh, Get Off My Cloud, Strange issue 2. Now, what do I think about this comic? I like this comic, but I think I like Hardcase a little bit more. You know, this is still a pretty good comic. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Up to now, the only time I'd seen Strangers was in the Ultraverse cartoon, like the last 2 episodes of the series, they bring in Strangers. Drew Nightman himself didn't actually show up in the cartoon, but he did get an action figure in the Ultraverse action figure line. I can't explain that at all. But I really enjoyed this comic. I think it's probably about an 8 out of 10 for me. You know, I definitely want to read the next issue and check that out. It's pretty high up there. It's not a 10 out of 10 like Hardcase, but then again, I think I'm biased because Hardcase was the first Ultraverse comic I ever read. But I really like it, and if you can find it, I highly recommend picking it up. Strangers from the Ultraverse. Until next time, this is the American Samurai saying, sayonara.